I know every single one of you watching this has at least 100 projects that's just laying on your hard drive. If you've been producing for like 10 years, you probably have a lot more than that. Hello guys, it's early in the morning, so I'm a little bit tired, low energy. Maybe that's nice for a change of pace. Today I want to share a secret hack that I recently discovered. It's not a secret hack, it's more of a technique or a method that I've been using lately to never run out of ideas. As you can probably imagine, doing YouTube for like 3 years, focused on music production, and for a long time uploading one video every week where I almost always just make a song from scratch. It has its pros and cons. The pros is that I've forced myself to make a lot of music. The cons is that I haven't had much time to do anything else. And that's the reality for a lot of producers, especially hobby producers that don't have 24 hours a day to spend on making music. And that's me as well. I do this for a living, but I don't have a lot of time to make music for myself. So recently I've been doing this new method to sort of hack myself into never running out of ideas. If that sounds interesting, keep watching, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and of course, it's still Black Weekend. Today we have a new offer. It is the Everything Bundle. If you want to get everything from my store, all my sample packs, all my sound banks, at I think it is 55% off, you're saving like 200 euros, and I strongly recommend getting it because you won't be getting these prices until next year. Here are some nice comments about my product. If you need some convincing and social proof, I've heard that's good for marketing. And yeah, let's get into the video. So I'm just gonna tell you outright what my secret hack is. Basically, it's about making a bunch of projects with small ideas. Let me show you an example. It can be literally this. That can be it. And you want to know why this is so powerful? I've studied a lot of psychology lately. I'm in school, I'm in university, as most of you know, and I study marketing, and marketing is a lot of psychology. The reason why I think this is so powerful is that when you feel inspired, but you don't have 24 hours a day free to spend on producing, what happens is when you feel inspired, you open up FL Studio and it's an empty project like this. Okay, I gotta start making music now. I'm running out of time. I only have a few hours, or I only have this night off. I gotta make something good. And what usually ends up happening is you open up like Vital or Piano or something like that, and you go, okay. So what do? I feel inspired to make something, but where do I start? Because you don't have all the time in the world, you also feel pressured to come up with something. Now that you have your free time, you feel kind of inspired and you really want to make something. You feel the pressure not to just start a track, but you also really don't want it to just become one of those projects that gets buried in the millions of projects that you have on your hard drive, right? Maybe not millions, but hundreds of projects. I know every single one of you watching this has at least 100 projects that's just laying on your hard drive. If you've been producing for like 10 years, you probably have a lot more than that. And that's why I think you should do this in steps. Let's say you do a fresh start. Ignore all the projects you have lying on your hard drive. When you feel inspired, do exactly this. One pattern, that's it. One melody that you have in mind. This could turn out to be like a really cool stamped bass house track. I think some of you will understand exactly what I mean with this melody and everything. Na 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 na. And then there's another sound that goes boo doo 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 doo. And when I open up this project next time, I already have that there, and I can go right into sort of developing the idea rather than coming up with something from nothing. So step 2 would be to just create a bunch of these projects. This is the exact same thing. It's nothing more. It's just that. Then we have another project. And what happens when you open these projects and you listen to them, at least that's the way it is for me, when I hear this, I hear the finished track. So I immediately know what to do. I have actionable steps to take, and I can either choose to like, okay, let's start building the drop from here. Or I put it like this. I go into guitar sessions, choose a top loop. You start building out something like this. Put out some top loops like this. and something from aaaand as well. Today is the everything bundle after all. If you want to get all of these sounds, check out mhmusic.com. So we'll go into Vital Sound Bank Volume 3. And all of a sudden, I'm in the middle of it. I'm producing. Just because I had this tiny little idea to start with. And that's a result of me having a bunch of these like tiny projects that I can just open up and be like, do I want to work on this one? Not really feeling that one right now. But this one, oh my god, you know? So I have like a bunch of these projects, right? Some are a bit more advanced than others. Like I've done more things in certain projects. Here, for example. You know? And then, oh, I hear that reverb tail. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I want to sample that reverb tail. And then you have that here. Because you resample this reverb. Right? And then you start making something entirely different from that. It's like, it's a hack to always stay inspired, to have like all of these different projects, right? We can keep opening up these. You've all heard this project before. It's just a super simple progressive house ID. And the trick is, you make a lot of these projects. Let's say day one, you're like, okay, I'm gonna try this out. But then you start doing a bit too much in one project. Abandon it. I promise. It sounds so counterintuitive. But you're like, I feel inspired, I want to continue on this. Don't do it. Keep making different ideas. Because that's gonna build up inspiration inside of you. I actually heard The Kling say this. Kling Music, if you don't follow him on YouTube, do it. So incredibly talented and such a nice guy. He said this in one of his videos. It's like when he needs inspiration, he builds it up like for a longer time. And even when he feels like, oh, I'm gonna start making something now, he doesn't do it. He lets it build up more and more. And I think there's really something to that. This doesn't really apply maybe because I didn't start this project for the specific purpose I'm talking about here, but it works sort of the same as when you go through your old projects and you're like, oh, I want to continue on this. It's basically the same thing as that, except you already have an emotional connection to the songs you've already started on, so it's a little bit different than just having a pattern instead of something like this, because I already have an emotional connection to this. I've already subconsciously decided that I'm probably not going to continue working on this, whereas if I just have a pattern, I don't have that subconscious connection yet, because I haven't really worked on it yet. You know what I mean? There's a difference between old projects that aren't finished and just one or two pattern ideas. But still, this has a really nice vibe, and I could be like, yeah, I want to continue on this. But like I said, I have this subconscious connection to it already, and I'm like, I don't want to continue on this. That doesn't have to be the case for all of these kind of projects though, which is why it's a good idea to just do a bunch of these one pattern projects. I actually believe in this idea more and more the more I talk about it. So this, for example, I just started out with this. Some lovely loops here from Demo Tapes Sound Blocks Volume 4. I love it so much. But yeah, I started with that, and then I added this, I think. So I wrote a guitar thing for it. And I already have sort of a connection to this. I've already subconsciously given up a little bit on this idea, which again is why it's such a great idea to just have these like one pattern projects. Like if this project was just this, it would be a different story because I already started working myself into this, and maybe I'm not entirely happy with how it sounds, and I've sort of backed myself into a corner that I can't really get out of mentally with this project, if that makes sense. I could just delete all of this, I guess, and start from scratch with this, right? So that's another thing that you can do as well. If you have a project that you really liked in the beginning, but you didn't really like where it ended up, just keep one element, one pattern or one sample or whatever, delete everything else and start over. And also have like passion projects that are different to your usual style of music. If you're a drum and bass producer mainly, but you really like Hans Zimmer, let's say, you're a fan of movie scores and that kind of thing, start up a project, play around with like strings libraries and things, and do something completely different, but don't do too much on it. It's what I've done here. I wanted to work on a like cover or a remix or something of Little Blue by Jacob Collier, my new favorite song. It's so good. So I started to like remake it a little bit. Not exactly the same, but you get the idea. I love that. So every time I open this project, I do like one pattern maybe or something small. I want this to take time. That's another thing. When you don't have these 24 hours a day to spend on producing music, do something small every day and that will compound, right? The compounding effect. Now we're a productivity mental health channel. But yeah, doing small things is something that you can do even when you don't feel creative, because you don't have to come up with new ideas or anything like that really. You're just working on one element, for example. Deep diving into one element of the track. It's something that has to be done, and you can still have fun doing it while not feeling super inspired or creative. I started off this video by saying like step 1, step 2, but I feel like all of that's falling apart now. I hope that my idea comes across anyways. Let's do a little recap. Basically, it's this. Forget about all those projects that's laying on your computer. They'll still be there in 5 years' time. You don't have to finish them if you don't want to. Society says it's wrong to have all these projects, but it's not. We all do, and it's fine. So open up a new project, and instead of feeling like you're gonna make the next Martin Garrix banger and you're gonna become the next biggest artist and you're gonna make a full finished track in the 2 hours that you have available on that day, that's just not realistic. Open up a synth, pick a sound that you like, start making a melody, put a bass line under it, save it, open up a new project, do the same thing over and over again. Do like 4 or 5 projects per session maybe, and after 2 days you have 10 ideas. So next time you feel inspired or next time you have a couple hours to kill, open up one of those projects and you already have such a huge head start, because you don't have to start from scratch. You already have an idea that you really like, and you haven't made that subconscious emotional connection to it yet where you feel like, oh, this isn't going anywhere, I should just let it become one of those hundreds of projects I already have on my computer. You don't have that. It's still so fresh, so it can go anywhere. It has all the potential left, let's say. And yeah, that's pretty much my secret hack to never run out of ideas as a producer. I don't know if this was helpful or not, but I wanted to share anyways. And don't forget, today is the everything bundle. I pretty much only use my own sounds when producing, and I've made some freaking bangers if I say so myself. So if you like the sound of what I make and you haven't checked out my sounds yet, go do so, because now is the greatest opportunity to do so. Also, it really helps out the channel, of course. It enables me to do this full time, so I really appreciate that. If you don't want to get everything, tomorrow there's the aaaand super sale, and on Monday there's the MHA bundle. Or if you just want to get 1 pack or something like that, maybe my vocal pack, you can get 25% off by using this code. Only during Black Weekend. So yeah, let me know what you think about this little hack in the comments. And if you have your own hacks, please feel free to share them. And with that being said, have a great weekend, and I will actually see you tomorrow again. I have to promote everything during Black Weekend. I'm sorry. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.